Commercial Aviation Diploma is a 60 credit diploma program. So 60 credits equates to 20 courses in a normal program. In this program, it's 10 courses and you get half your credits from the flight training. So you would take 10 business courses and then you get the equivalent of 10 courses through the flight training. The academic courses can be completed either before, after, or simultaneous to the flight training. So you can start the flight training in this summer and then start classes in the fall and do them at the same time, or you can do one or the other first, whichever works better for you. Aviation training must be completed at a Transport Canada approved location. We have Southern Interior Flight School here today. They are our preferred partner here in Kelowna. But if you were out of the area and went to another Transport Canada approved flight school, you could also do that. Graduates from this program have an employability advantage because airlines do look for that business training, that professional skills, in addition to the pilot training. So that gives you an advantage and a leg up and for promotional opportunities within the industry. We turn over to Daryl to talk a little bit about the Southern Interior Flight School.
Okay. All right, flight training. Just out of curiosity, how many people 2 hours ago were talking on the phone with your buddies saying it's going to be 27 today, let's go to the lake, I'm almost done school, I'm almost done whatever my day is done, let's go. You're getting ready, and it dawned on you that you had to come to an information center for a session at the school. It's like, oh, I forgot about the information session. So there goes my day. Anybody? What? Thank you for your honesty, because I'm sure you speak for most of the class here. It was like, oh yeah, we got to go to this. So there is so much in this. I know that everybody who is here and interested in aviation is looking into the mist, looking into the crystal ball, going, I have no idea how this starts. I have no idea what this looks like. I don't even know where to start. I saw a cloud once and I thought it was cool and I want to be a pilot. Or maybe you flew to Hawaii once and you looked in the flight deck and you went, that is really cool, I want to do that. Or everybody here has a different story of why you're here today. Something happened, somebody said something to you, maybe you have family who's in aviation, something brought you here today, and this could be the start of the rest of your life in terms of, I love this aviation stuff, that's what I want to do. Or maybe you're going to get into it and go, you know what, this is not for me. And I want to say straight out of the gate that we need more than just pilots in the world. And so it's great that everybody's here today to get the information. And if this leads to continuing on in aviation, great. And if not, maybe you're going to clean my teeth someday. But whatever you choose to do and whatever's going to make you happy in life, that is the most important thing. For a lot of us, we chose aviation. And I will say that if I had 10 lives to live over again, getting my pilot's license would be the first thing I would do every single life. Whether I did anything with it or not, whether I went to fly in the airlines, whether I just did it for fun, or whether I just got my pilot's license and I didn't even do anything after that, I didn't fly again. For the way that it changed me, I was in sports in high school, and on every single one of my report cards, the teacher wrote, if Daryl only could apply himself. And I never did apply myself until I got into aviation. I didn't know how to take notes. I didn't know how to study. I knew how to read, kind of, but I didn't know how to do much else. And I had to do the first ground school twice because it was so over my head in terms of the math. But I finally got through and it ended up becoming my career. And so the reason I tell you that is that going into it now, the good news is that you don't have to build Rome all in one day. You can get into it, you can start it, you can limp along in it and go, you know what? As long as you keep liking it, this is working out for me, great, I'm going to keep going. We'll talk about the financial investment and all that stuff in a bit, but it's a long road that you don't have to do all at once. And so if you leave here today going, all right, you talked a little bit about aviation, but I still don't know if I'm interested in it, that's okay. We can do little bits at a time until you're ready to make that decision to finally start training at which we hope is going to be Southern.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you bet.
I was gonna say, what
Yeah.
about if you're not quite sure and you want to do a discovery flight?
Great question. Are we in the questions time, sorry? I just
Questions
don't want to jump ahead. Yes.
are all good.
So Discovery Flight is an opportunity to go up. Lauren, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's who they're going to call. You're going to talk to Lauren. By the way, I'm Daryl. I'm the chief flight instructor. This is Lauren. She's my right-hand person. And whenever you call the school, she's likely the one who you're going to talk to. So you call the school and you go, yeah, so I've heard about this Discovery Flight, I think it's called. What is that and how do we set it up?
So a Discovery Flight, you'll give me a call. We'll schedule you for about a week and a half we need, at least. We'll book you in for a day, whether that be morning, afternoon, night, doesn't matter, well, not night, but evening. I guess both daytime, good. So what you'll do is you'll go up with an instructor. It's going to be about 30 minutes in the air. And that does include, well, it'll be about 30 in the air and then 45 minutes in total. Because what the instructor and you will do, you'll do the walk around, you'll go down to the plane, they'll show you all the fun stuff. And then from there, you'll taxi to the runway, take off, and in the air, if you feel comfortable enough, the instructor will let you take the up and do a couple things. And then eventually you'll come back down and you come off the meet. And essentially you can log these hours too. Oh, well, the 0.8 probably.
Yeah.
Is this option like separate from tuition? So it's only
Yeah.
So that's something that's really cool. So if you're not quite sure, that's kind of why I butted in. So if you're not quite sure if you're into aviation, I personally say about myself, before I was kind of appointed aviation when I was in my position here, I never really knew anything about it. And then I actually got to go up and do a discovery flight because we were doing a photo shoot for the program. And you guys, game changer. You either know if you like it or not. So it's something for sure to do. If you're scared of heights, like I kind of was, but it's something that's just like, it's crazy. The perspective when you're up there, it changes everything, how you look at it. And I just want to say, if you're not quite sure, do it because again, this program is more expensive. So why not spend a couple $100 doing this compared to, financially
Yeah.
not
Sure.
knowing.
Just on that note about
Question in the
being,
back?
sorry,
Is it coding on the plane?
we just do the fixed wing, the helicopter.
We'll
is it-
talk
is there
about the
one of
helicopter.
these?
They do that.
George, we're gonna talk about helicopter later today.
Okay.
George couldn't be here today, but we'll share information. about
Perfect. Just on the note about scared of heights, every spring and fall, when it comes time to go up on my roof to clean the eave troughs, I cannot do it. I gotta hire somebody to come in because I can't stand heights. Never in my wildest dreams have I ever been scared of the plane, but for some reason, to be out in the open on my roof scares the life out of me. Or to be up in heights, even to go up on a mountain, look over the edge, can't do it. So heights affects everybody differently. One other thing about the Discovery Flight that, just a word of caution, that I guarantee that when you go up in the plane and have a look around and see the beauty of Kelowna from the air, Lake Okanagan, Kalamalka, and all over the place, you're probably not going to come back and go, gee, I really don't want to do this. Unless there's a nausea issue, unless there is some other issues in the plane. But generally, people come back from the Discovery Flight going, heck yeah, let's do this. And the word of caution is that obviously the program is much bigger than just the Discovery Flight. So I almost guarantee you that if you come in to do the flight, you're going to come back totally stoked, ready to give Lauren your credit card and ready to launch into this with both feet. But it does give you an idea if you've never been in a small plane or if the training part of it would be something that you're interested in or not interested in, that may give you a hint. and definitely a good thing to do.
I will also say, just cut you off one
Yep.
more time.
Sure.
It is different. So who has actually been on a plane traveling? Yeah. Who has flown a plane? Yeah. What's the difference? Right? It's so different. In my personal aspect, if I'm a passenger, I personally hate traveling on planes. Flying a plane, 1000%. So cool, I think, in my opinion. So I'm just saying my own personal opinion. Discovery flights, I think it will change, right? So it's not you're just the passenger, you're actually flying the plane. You're in control, you're seeing it in a whole different perspective. But I'll pass back over to you.
So are you the same in a car? Because I
I would-
hate being a passenger in the
Same.
car, especially driving around in Kelowna.
Yep.
That's like, if I'm not driving, I'm probably gonna walk.
Yeah.
Just as we launch into the slide, and then maybe we can ask a couple questions, and then maybe there's some other slides. What we're looking at here is basically what we call industry ready. We'll talk a little bit about the job market and where things are at right now, but your road to becoming industry ready is generally this flow here. Starts out with the private pilot's license. That's your first foray into aviation. Now, those of you might be a little savvy and might go, well, isn't there a rec pilot permit before the private pilot license? And that is true. Has nothing to do with the commercial world. Generally, the point of the rec pilot permit is you can get it at 16. And that, if you're still in school and you want to get the pilot's license early, technically that is transport's way of getting people into the pilot's license early, that by the time they hit their 18th birthday, they're doing the commercial license. And I have had lots of students who get the rec pilot permit, they're doing the private pilot's license on their 16th birthday, commercial pilot's license on their 18, and then they just go from there. But the private pilot's license is what we consider the first license into aviation. Next after your private pilot's license, you're going on to the commercial pilot's license. And then technically, and just to clear up a little bit of confusion on the commercial pilot's license, I've been an instructor all my life. And it's what I wanted to do. It's why I got into aviation, and I've been doing it for 25 years. And everybody always asks me, so do you ever want to fly commercially? When technically I've been flying commercially all my life. To do anything in aviation and get paid for it, you have to have a commercial pilot's license. So a commercial pilot's license has nothing to do with flying big jets or being a captain on a 737. It just means that now you have a license to make money in aviation, however you choose to do that. There's many roads. To fly 737 and all the flights that most of us have done, that's called an airline transport pilot's license. Nothing to do with this. After the commercial pilot's license, you will generally get a multi-engine rating and then an instrument rating, and generally will give you about 220 flight hours. Now, can I mention what the difference is here? Or are you going to bring that up in terms of the commercial pilot's license?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this year is new for all of us in terms of our relationship with Okanagan College and the partnership that we forged going forward. This year, in terms of the academic intake in September, so those of you that are planning on coming in and starting your diploma degree track, in order to graduate, you will need a commercial pilot's license. This point here. So private pilots, commercial pilot's license, and that is the graduation requirement for this year only. It is the intention that starting next year, still to be determined, the multi-engine and the instrument IFR will be added to that in terms of the criteria for graduation. So this year will be the easiest year to graduate. Whereas as we go forward, starting next year and whatever, there's going to be more and more added to the criteria. And the reason for that is that we're aligning this with industry. and what industry is looking for in terms of their job applicants and who they take from the various colleges and universities. So anyway, any questions about anything on this slide? Yes, got there.
Well, you said that this is the easiest time to graduate,
Correct.
but you won't graduate in 1 year.
Correct. But in terms of the flight,
I can answer that one.
part, sure, yeah.
So how it works when you apply for a program is when you apply, it's whatever the criteria is when you apply. So if you apply for this fall, and you have to apply through OC as well this fall, not just through Southern Interior Flight School, you have to start the OC piece. Then the criteria that is in place at that time is what you graduate under. So you can take you up to 5 years to graduate, but that will still be the criteria.
Great question. I love that.
Yes,
If you include multi-engine rating and instrument rating, does that mean the total flight hours will go up the year after? Like for the next year, he's in grade 11, he has another year of high school. Will it mean that the total amount of hours required with the full criteria will increase?
so the hours, it's basically the license that kind of, so right now for this fall, if you enroll this fall to graduate, whether it be in 5 years or 4 years or whatever, you will need a commercial pilot's license. At this point in time, to get a commercial pilot's license, the requirement is 200 hours. That's transport's minimum. You will finish the program somewhere around 220 if you do the whole thing. That will never change. That's transports.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the college or when you apply or when you graduate.
Second question.
Oh, you only get one.
That's an easy one.
Yes.
He already has his PPL. and
Wonderful.
Accrued hours.
Yeah.
Will they count towards the program in general? Like, is there a change in the way that he starts his flight training with Southern Interior?
I'm going to defer to you, but I just want to take a crack at it first to make sure I understand, okay? Because I'm understanding that coming in, that when you're done the commercial pilot's license, you will get a default 30 credits when you're done, irregardless of where you did it.
So we will assign 30 credits when you complete the commercial pilot's license through our prior learning assessment and recognition program. So from our perspective, wherever you do the PPL is fine. The question is whether or not you would accept that PPL as part of the training to go on and do the commercial pilot's license.
Absolutely. Yeah. Where you get your PPL is up to you. We'd love if we could go scratch to, we call it 0 to hero.
Yeah.
But if you already have your PPL, that's fantastic. There would be no saying, oh, sorry, you did it somewhere else.
And you have to start over again.
Yeah. No. Yes,
I read online last year that,
that's always a bad thing.
yeah, so I just want to make sure that's different. But if you want to enter in the fall intake, you already need your PPL.
That is under the old criteria. We modified the program between last year and this year. It was paused last year while we did the revitalization. And so that is no longer the case. You could start the OC program without your pilots, without your PPL. So it's totally fine to start in the fall.
Yes.
So if you already have your PPL, like, so during the, what is this? You get credits from going through and getting your PPL. If you already have it, like, do you have to do something else to gain credits?
When you're done, when you graduate and you produce your commercial pilot's license, it's just a default 30 credits. It doesn't matter what happened along the way or where you got it.
How would you go about getting your airline transfer license? Like, is that something you do this first and then you have to go do that somewhere else?
So, great question. So, aviation is a very interesting industry. In fact, it's one of the most different industries in terms of the fact that when you graduate, you are still not technically industry ready. What determines whether you're industry ready or not, technically you can be in terms of the training, but it depends where the hiring in the industry is at. So when you finish this, you're going to have 220 hours. And depending on what the hiring demand is in the industry, is going to determine your likelihood of actually getting into it in terms of finding a job. We all have heard on the internet and on TV how much of a shortage there is for pilots. And that is true. But part of the problem that you don't know is that the bottleneck is actually at the top, the captains. That we need the captains to start moving out of the industry, either retiring or however that works, in order for the FOs to move into the captain's seat. FO is first officer, the other guy. And then when the FOs start moving into the captain's positions, now there's places where the regional airlines, so Pasco, Central Mountain Air, Pacific, or is it Pasco? You know, the airlines that will take up the Prince George and Peace River and stuff, then those guys start moving up. And when those guys start moving up out of the regionals, now the instructors out of the flight school start moving up, and there's just one big stream of movement. Where we're at right now is that there is not a lot of movement anywhere. And I've been out here in the Valley 2 years, and I came from Calgary from Mount Royal University. I was involved in their aviation program there. And the year that I left, which was 23, 24, half our class of 20 moved into great paying jobs. Same place, 220 hours, finished the commercial multi-IFR, and they went right off with the ink still wet on their license and their ratings into good paying jobs. Aviation is a cycle. And right now we are at the bottom of the hiring circle. And so does that mean it's a great time to get into aviation now? Well, I could say yes, and that if you get in now, and generally it takes about 2 years to move through the entire program, then when you're done the aviation part, then maybe where the hiring cycles come back up. And it does do that. It comes up and it goes. There's a number of us that are old enough to remember 2001. And what happened in 2001?
September 11th.
September 11th. The ink was barely dry on my commercial pilot's license. I was going into my flight instructor rating, and I thought this is going to be great. And then 9/11 happened and literally shut the aviation down for 10 years. All my hopes and dreams that I was told, well, we're going to finish in 2 years, you'll be done and get in, blah, 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 just went out the window. 10 years went by. I did a bunch of other stuff in between there. And sure enough, the aviation came back and I went in full steam ahead. And the rest of that part is history. The aviation cycle was strong for all that time. And then we got to 2019, 2020, 21, and what happened? COVID. Wasn't as bad as 9/11. It did shut the aviation down again, but it was only for 3 years that time. Now we kind of we went over the top of the cycle, the hiring cycle again, and now we're at the bottom of that. And that's just the way aviation goes. In all of those cycles, hours don't change. People coming out of the classes are all the same, but it's where the industry is at that's going to determine how fast your hopes and dreams get fulfilled. And so right now, the students who are in class right now they're really having to work hard for their jobs. They're out there, but they're having to work a lot harder than they had to do a few years ago. Anyway, ATPL. When you're done this, you've got 220 hours. One of the other things that makes aviation really unique is that depending on the hiring cycle, does anybody know what the airlines are looking at right now in terms of hours for being hired? Yeah. Yeah, about 1,500 hours. That's Air Canada jets. There are jobs out there if you have around, once you hit the 800, 900 hour mark, now you're starting to be marketable. Now, if we do the math, which if all you guys want to be pilots, I'm assuming that math is following you close behind. 800 hours minus 220. Where do you find those hours? Anybody know that? I'm trained, I've done my course, I'm ready to go. But they're not gonna hire me until I have 850 hours? Where do I get that? Good question. Right now, so we're associated, we're directly connected with Carson Air, who has the PC Medevac program. The Medevac pilots are looking at around 1,000 hours right now, 1,000 to 15. Medevac, by the way, what's your name? Cameron? Do you want a bag of chips? Or sure. Oh, juice? All right. A lot of people end up in instructing. Bane of my existence, because when I say I'm an instructor, they said, oh, you weren't able to get into the airlines, eh? Oh, that's too bad. Well, that's just a burden I got to bear. But generally, a lot of people end up in instructing because that is a really easy way to build hours. I don't say that to encourage you, because if you don't really want an instructor teach, then I wouldn't encourage you going down that road. But a lot of people do instruct because that's the easy way to build hours. Another way is to go fly up north. A lot of the smaller airlines, charter companies, we're moving into the summer now. So there's float flying, there's positions up north as a dock hand that also give you opportunity to learn how to fly a little bit of charter if you got a flow rating. Things like that, and you kind of limp along, building hours, moving from place to place until you finally have enough where the airlines are going to look at you. To just give you a contrast, going back a couple of years to when we were at the top of the hiring curve, students were coming out of MRU again with the same amount of hours, going right into the right seat of a Dash 8 or CRJ or a Beech 1900, which again is pretty darn good jobs. Because the demand was there, there was such movement that they would take you if you were breathing and had a pilot's license. Whereas now, because the movement has slowed, now the demand isn't there as much, and now the companies are saying they're being a little more picky at the resumes that are coming across the desk. ATPL, I'm getting 1,500 hours, 1,000 hours. ATPL is 2 exams and an amount of hours in general. There's a little more than that, but so when you get to 1,500 hours and when you get your 2 ATPL exams done, basically it's a signature that says, oh, you're a pilot or you're an ATPL pilot now. There were changes that just came down the pipe a couple months ago, that the addition to the ATPL is that you also have to be working for a company that has a 2-crew airplane that you fly. So you just can't be an instructor and build 1,500 hours. You actually have to work for a company. Generally, it'd be an airplane that would be a multi-engine, where you can build that kind of what they call pit time, or you basically get signed off by a captain that says, yep, they've been working for us, and it's not, they've made it a little harder is what's happened. But it's just basically exams and building hours.
I think we need to kind of move to the next. Next.
I'm just gonna say, so the next slide is probably what you all want to see. It's the tuition. So we do have funding options, a slide about that at the end. So I'll just say if you have questions about funding options, maybe just hold them if you can until we get to that slide, so we can kind of work through these, but let's kind of move on here. So this tuition for the Okanagan College, so I'll let Christine kind of take this one here.
Yeah, so with Okanagan College, the tuition per course is right now is $535 per course, plus student services fees. You pay as you go. So when you register for a course, you pay for that course. You could take 1 class at a time. You could take 5 classes at a time. It's whatever you decide to do. There is a security deposit of $200, and of course tuition will fluctuate each year, but this is where we're at going into fall. For that, for the business side, the academic courses, you take the 10 courses. So it's approximately, with fees and everything, about $6,000 for the academic portion of the program. That portion is covered by financial aid. You can get student loans to cover that cost. Again, you can spread it out over a number of terms, or you can take them in a condensed format. It's up to you.
Also, I will say, so going into the financial portion again later on, government student loans, you have to be full-time. So if academic courses, you have to take 3 at a time if you need student loans. So that's just something to consider if you're looking to do this program and get student loans as well. So yeah, you had a question here?
What if you've already taken like all those classes?
Yeah, so that's something great that you mentioned. So if you already have, you would have to talk to the academic advisor and her business department like Christine, and you'll get different like courses approved.
Did you take them here? Then you're,
Oh, there you go.
so if you took them here, then they count towards your program. If you took them someplace else, we do have a 50% residency for this program. So if you took these someplace else, you would have to take a substitute course here because we need you to take 50% of the program here. And since 50% is aviation, in the flight training, you have to take at least the 10 courses here. But if you take them here, they can count towards your program.
All right, we got a question back here, so yeah.
So is it, do you have to take it in a specific order or not?
So great question as well. Christine, can I answer this one for you?
So you can take 116, 111, 123, 128, 112, and Math 11 with no prerequisite courses. You have to take the others in the second term because 251 because you have to have taken 111 before you can take 251. You have to take 123 before you take 262. So you can take them in any order as long as you meet the prerequisites. And you can pick any 2 business electives as part of the program.
So we do have, academic advisors. So if you do go into the program, they'll let you know, hey, you actually can't go into that course because you don't have the prerequisite, or hey, yeah, you do. So something to think about as well. We'll get into that a little bit later, student services that you can use. But that is something you utilize, especially if you're going to this program or if you're already taking courses, a service to use that is free as well.
What's an example of business electives? What are the courses that kind of fit that description?
We have all kinds of electives within the degree program. We have courses in marketing, finance, accounting, HR, management, marketing. I don't know if I said that, tourism, entrepreneurship. So students could take entrepreneurship if they think they might want to run their own business. They could take an advanced financial accounting course if they chose to. You could take conflict resolution and negotiations. So it's a lot of different choices that people can make.
A lot of people take professional writing or communications as well. So I actually know an alumni of this program some years ago. So during COVID, obviously he couldn't be in his aviation anymore. And he actually had like an opportunity to actually kind of be on not the flying side, but the back end of everything. So he actually got to use his business courses that he took, like professional writing, communications, and so forth, and applied it. Right. So you never know. Like Gerald said, things can happen in the industry. So it's kind of nice to have that as a background.
That's not required.
Oh, there you go.
Under those 2 electives, do you offer any business aviation related courses?
No, because all the business aviation courses the aviation courses are all through flight school. At this time, we don't. We got feedback from our program advisory committee that it would be useful to add an elective around aircraft maintenance. So we will be talking to our trades program, which does aircraft maintenance, around to adding something like that going forward. But not right at this moment in time, no, that does not exist. Yeah.
So the professional writing tool be used as an elective?
No, it's not a business course. So you're 122, it doesn't fall into the business electives.
RESPs, obviously, you can use them through OC, can use them through supplementary and within courses through that as well.
I was gonna say, that's a great question. I have a funding page that's gonna come up soon. So
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna get into all the funding I say in a little bit. So we might just like pause that, but it's a great question. I don't want to cut you off there. You're good with that? Yeah. Any other questions before we move on about this one? No? All right. Okay. So we're gonna go on tuition for Southern Tier Flight Center right now. So Daryl, I'll let you take that away.
All right, well, in your handout, there is a price page.
Got them up on the board.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Security deposit. We're actually having a meeting tomorrow to solidify what that number is going to be. The PPL 32,050. So on your price list, I'll just get you to open your thing. If you go around shopping flight schools, because in order to come to the college here and be involved in the college program, it does not matter where you get your flight training from. You just have to provide the commercial pilot's license. So if you're not from Kelowna here, maybe you're from Kamloops, Bayou in Kamloops is a fantastic school. You live in Penticton, BP Aviation down there is a fantastic school. There are other great schools around. We would love you to come and train with us, but if not, that's fine. When you're shopping around, no matter where you choose to go, make sure that you understand that whatever they're telling you, probably they are going to tell you their bare minimum pricing that is going to get you in the door. And it is not that they're trying to reel you in and then they're going to hit you with all the hidden costs. But the reality is that when it comes to aviation, there is a ton of costs that don't come up front when you are getting the initial pitch of how much this flying costs. If you've done shopping already, you've probably heard in the neighborhood of 20,000, 22,000, kind of in there. Generally, the flight costs are somewhere around there. But as you read through the price list, there's a lot more that goes on, even in starting out in the PPL, that really brings the price up to around 32,000 mark. And in the course of all of your flight training, going school to school, if you just compare school to school, there is probably going to be little differences here and there. Oh, the PPL at this school costs this, and Southern Interior Flight Center, it costs this. But in general, if you compare the entire program, you're going to come out the other end somewhere in the neighborhood of 110 to 120,000. This is an MBA level program. Getting your industry commercial pilot's license, and when I say commercial pilot's license, I mean commercial multi-IFR. It is the same price as getting an MBA. You are looking at 100 grand plus. Now, it's a big investment. There is money available along the way. There are scholarships and bursaries and yada, yada, yada along the way. This is 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yeah, that's 115 with these prices, and that's pretty close. The PPL, we're pretty much right in the neighborhood for 32,000. And we've aimed in our price list here, we've aimed to put everything that you can expect to pay. Now, going back to my little buddy here, are you sure you don't want to bag chips? Okay. Do you know what the minimum number of hours it is to get a PPL license? 45. Why is that? Because you'll notice on our price page it says 65. Why shouldn't we be saying 45?
Gotta have the skills before you get the PPL.
You gotta have the skills. So one of the things in any flight school, you're going to ask the question, well, how long does it take and how many hours do I need? And they're going to say 45 hours. And keep in mind that when people come into the fixed wing flight training program, no matter where you go, that doesn't mean that you're starting from scratch. Maybe you're a 50,000 hour helicopter pilot, or maybe you've been in aviation in some other capacity and have all these hours, and you just want to become a fixed wing pilot. At some point in time, transport has to have minimum hours to get the private pilot's license. So let's say you're the helicopter pilot who's got already 20,000 hours and you just want to transfer over to fixed wing. Well, there's a lot that happens in terms of the training of fixed wing and training of rotor wing that's pretty similar. And so why make the guy do it all again? So there has to be a minimum number of hours, dual, solo, time building, and that's where transport comes up with the 45-hour mark. If you're starting from scratch, you don't have any aviation background, it is a rare person unless you were birthed in an aircraft or live sim all your life or have this huge background in aviation that's going to aid you in the training process. You're not going to finish in 45 hours. the minimum hours that transport pitches at you is not to say this is how long it should take you. Do you know what the average in Canada is right now? Minimum, the average hours for the PPL? Okay, no chips anymore. Does anybody know what the average PPL license hours is in Canada right now? It's 90 hours. So we aim to do it in 65, minimum's 45. I always felt that if I had a student going over 55 to 60 hours, that there was either some kind of a major break in there, or there was maintenance issues or weather issues, or something caused it, the training to go over 60, 65 hours. 90 hours, 95 hours, I still to this day, every time I hear that, I go, how are people taking 95 hours to do a private pilot's license? Anyway, that is what the average is. So that means there are people out there doing a PPL license over 100 hours. We aim to do it in 65, and in the history that we've been doing it, that's kind of that's our goal and our target. And for 65 hour, that is what you can expect to pay in our program.
So I need to move you a little faster
Yeah, sure.
because we still have to go through commercial helicopter.
Holy yes.
Yeah.
And we're 10 minutes, so we'll have lots of time for questions, but I want to make sure we cover all the material for everybody before we go into questions.
Do we really need to talk about the helicopter people?
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Fine.
And I think you've already talked about some of this, so, and then Daryl will be happy to stay and answer questions
Sure.
as long as you want, but I want to make sure we go through all the information to make sure we get through that before we end.
Yeah, so there's some career paths, obviously, as Daryl had mentioned. You don't always just go straight into your first officer, right? So you kind of have to work your way up. So there's other things you can do, like cargo operations, flight instructor to get those hours up, right? Medevac flights, you can do float plane tourism if you have that licensing as well, remote operations, and so forth. So there's lots of different areas. So this is just Southern Tier Flight Center's contact information. So as Christine said, Daryl and Lauren are going to be here afterwards, so answer questions. But in the meantime, if you're not quite sure, I'm someone who I listen to information, take it in, and I don't really have questions in the moment. And then I go home and I'm like, oh, I should have asked that. So take a photo of this, write it down. And you have, if you don't have a pen and paper, we have some up in the front here. You can write it down. So if you do have any inquiries, you can do info at flysifc.ca, and Lauren is one who looks after that. So she'll be able to connect with you as well. Okay, so we're just going to move on to a commercial helicopter pilot certificate. So again, first show of hands, who is interested in that? Kind of lost track. Okay, nice, love it. Me too. Sorry, no offense. I do love those things as well. Okay.
Everyone's good. Good to see you.
Yeah. I'll pass it over to Christina, and she'll just kind of go through this a little bit as well for this program.
So our commercial helicopter pilot certificate program is shorter. It's only 15 credits of academic work, so 5 courses, and 15 credits towards the flight school. So it's a shorter program. That's why it's a certificate, not a diploma. So again, the academic portion can be completed at the same time as before or during or after the flight training. So they can be done at the same time. OK Helicopter does prefer that students start the business component first. They prefer you to have at least 1 semester under your belt of academic courses. They find that makes people more serious about the flight training. So that is their preference. But you could do it at any point in that time. Again, you can do it at any Transport Canada approved provider. OK Helicopter is our preferred partner. They're right here in Kelowna. And again, the business courses give you an employability advantage. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, so I'm gonna speak to their program. Obviously, I'm not the expert on this, but we will share their information and how to get more information. So next slide. So they actually have a couple of different pilot training programs, and depending on the type of helicopter, depends on how many hours it is and what the cost is. So they have primarily their commercial helicopter pilots, depending on if you're in the R44 or the Bell 206 program, they're about 105 flight hours. So a little fewer hours than in fixed wing. They also will pay per course. They have a, this is our OC tuition. We're also pay per course, $200. These are the, for security deposit. Tuition's about half because it's half the courses. You can choose from any of these courses and you have to take 5. So the tuition for the helicopter portion is a pay as you go. There is a security deposit. And the R-44 helicopter is 71, almost 72,000. And the other helicopter, the Bell 206, is 77,000. I have no idea what the difference is between the two, but I know that there's a different price point. Maybe zero knows the difference, but if you're going to helicopters, maybe you know the difference. But those are their price points for the basic flight training. Both programs have about a $7,600 textbook and other fees, which makes the total cost somewhere between $79,000 and $85,000 for the helicopter program.
I have had the question before though, Christine, why is this program not more expensive, but the same price, and it's only, usually 1 year depending on how you do it compared to a 2-year program? Correct me if I'm wrong, Daryl, but I've heard that the aircraft itself, a helicopter, it can't go as many hours. You can't fly it as many hours usually before any maintenance on it. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, the price to fly the helicopter is a lot more than the price.
There you go.
It's about $600 a flight hour.
Yeah, so that's the one thing. So that's a very popular question that I personally have found over the years that I have received. And that's kind of why, obviously, you see gas prices right now. Think about a helicopter or aircraft, right? So it's going to be a lot more as well.
Yeah, lots of different career paths. I live in Peachland, and helicopters are flying over my house all the time, practicing firefighting maneuvers and search and rescue maneuvers out in the woods. So there's lots of different opportunities there, oil and gas, mining, flight instruction, law enforcement. There's lots of different careers out there for helicopter pilots. So lots of different opportunities.
Also in the Okanagan, you guys see the orchards and everything? Yeah, cherries and steering away, doing all that kind of stuff. So they do those sorts of things as well to get your flight hours.
So this is their information. All of their programs are listed on their website. They have an application right there. So if you're interested in that and apply for that piece, that is the way to go through there.
So again, take a photo if you like this, if you're interested in this specific Okanagan Mountain helicopters. And again, we do have paper up here if you need to write something down. See some pens going, so just wait a couple of seconds here. Again, if you do have questions about this afterwards, the helicopter portion as well, Christine and myself are happy to answer any questions or provide any information or contact information. So financial aid and awards. I'm going to go straight to the back here because I remember we had that question. So I want to touch back on that one because I don't want you to feel ignored and I didn't mean to cut you off. But I know, again, this program itself, I want to do this program myself, and I know it can be like a financial, it can be a burden, right? It can seem really overwhelming, and there's not always a whole bunch of resources that you really think you can do. These are some of the resources that you can do. So again, depending on your flight school that you go through, it might be like accredited. So it could be, depending again, it could be student loan eligible. It may not. If it's not, you can also do student lines of credit. So your private institution, you can go through that. These are some scholarships and bursaries. So OC Awards, we do have financial aids and awards department itself. So you don't have to be like the top student to apply to some of them. You don't have to be the star of a football team. Me personally, I wish I applied for more when I was a student here, but I applied for one award, and it was just because I was an OC student. I got $1,000. Took me 20 minutes to apply for it. How long is that going to take you in the industry to actually, make that money? So I really encourage everyone to please apply, especially when you're doing, if you do go into this program, the OC side of things, to apply for any awards that do, you see. A lot of it does go unclaimed. So we have to give it back to the donors, and they don't like that. Like I said, $1.5 million to give away each year. So it just depends on your program, your financial background, and your lifestyle, and so forth. There's lots of external awards, and these ones right here are some of them specifically just for the aviation portion. So that's not for the academic portion through Okanagan College. That's just the aviation portion. So feel free just to write those down again if you want. Afterwards, we can chat more to you about that. Daryl will be more of an expert on the aviation portion of all the bursary scholarships and grants that are offered as well through the programs. And then if you are going through the college as well, and depending on, again, on your flight school, RESPs, you can use that too. So if your guardian or parents did have some saved for you, you can also use those as well. Yeah. Any questions so far before we go, keep going?
The RESPs can be applied to the flight portion.
Pardon?
The RESPs can be applied to the flight portion.
I believe it depends on the flight school. Christine, do you know that specifically? I know it will depend on the flight school. I think everyone's different, just like if you have the credibility for the flight school, some.
Is the T something for flight school? Export.
What we have found too is that a difference from bank to bank. Our biggest success has come with RBC. And generally we provide a letter to the student who goes to the bank and you say, they confirm that I'm in the program, and then they get the letter of acknowledgement from the college that they're involved in that program, and the bank puts it together. Generally, it hasn't been a problem for us. In terms of student aid, we are just closing up on getting our designation for some time in the later part of the summer.
That's excellent. And OK Helicopter is already designated for student loans.
And like I did mention, we do have financial aid and awards department here. So if you do apply to this program through Okanagan College, you can always chat with an advisor specifically. They personally would know a lot more than I do about all the different awards and bursaries and scholarships and grants that are out there and offered. So it is definitely recommended to chat with them. And it's free to chat with them. So moving on. Sorry, I didn't ask. Was there any more questions about funding? I'm shocked. Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Okay. So some student services. So just at Okanagan College, some of the services that we do offer, all these are free. So we do have counseling services as well. I know myself going through school, especially if you're trying to balance maybe like flight school and academic, it can be stressful. So we honestly do care. I'm not saying it because I'm paid to be here right now. I'm saying it because I was a student as well. But we do have counseling. So we care about your mental health outside of the classroom and both inside the classroom. So you actually get 10 free sessions through a clinical counselor at Okanagan College here. So you can do drop-ins or you can actually book appointments. Financial aid and awards, we just touched on that. We have our $1.5 million started giveaway each year. We have Indigenous services too. So if you're looking for maybe you're not quite sure how to go through band funding, we have that. It's an area in the department that anyone's welcome, honestly. They have elder visits and so forth. It's really cool. Disability access services. So that maybe you need a little bit of extra time writing an exam. Maybe you need maybe a quiet room to write it. Maybe you just need a certain resource to help yourself, really go through the learning. We have that as well. So we do have advisors there as well. So if you do have a disability, it could be like ADHD or anything like that, you can always provide a doctor's note and they will help you with that process on how to get the resources you need to succeed in your program. Student Success Center, math. I know you said math, you have to be good at it. I'm guilty. I'm not a math person. Like I said, this is my classroom that I had my business math in way back in the day. I'm not going to say it's going to make me sound really old, but I struggled with it. And we do have a Student Success Center. So it's actually on the library on this floor. So you go straight down that hallway at all of our campuses too. So they provide free tutoring. So for your academic courses, if you need any help with maybe business, maybe it's any of the other courses that you did see, we do provide tutoring that you can use and allocate. Academic advising, like I mentioned, if you're not quite sure, maybe you're already taking courses, business courses, you're not sure what will apply, what won't, maybe, you're just not sure what to even choose if you don't have the prerequisites. We have academic advisors, so you can chat with them, make appointments with them to ensure that you're taking the courses that you need. You're not taking extra courses or anything like that. Because again, we know this program can be expensive, so don't want to waste your time and money as well. Career Hub. So if you need help, maybe writing a resume or maybe you need some job experience, you can go to them and chat with them. They can do mock interviews as well. I think the more that you interview and just practice that, the more you get comfortable. It's really great if you're a pilot too, because you might have to interact with people sometimes. Athletic and recreation. Do you guys see this building right here? That's our new health and wellness building. So we're super excited about it. So hopefully it's going to be done in the fall. We'll see. Fingers crossed. October. Okay, fingers crossed. So right there, that's going to be your gym. We do have 3 different sports teams. So we have a basketball team, both a men and then a women's team as well. And then we also have a baseball team and then a hockey team we share with UBCO. But that is where our basketball teams are now going to practice. They used to practice KSS right behind you there. We're going to have a new gym here too. So we do a gym still on our other campuses. Right now, it's just on the other side of campus here, but it's only $10 the whole time you're a student here. It's not per month or anything the whole time you're a student, which is pretty cool. I personally went to it all the time when I was a student here because it's good, healthy stress relief, right? So just know there's so many different things than sitting in a classroom or maybe sitting up in your classroom in the air, but there's so many different options in student services that are free that come with your tuition as well. Okay, so this is the application process. If you are interested, does anyone know what Education Planner BC is? No? Okay, so if you don't, this is a government-ran site. So if you're applying to any post-secondary within British Columbia, if it's maybe Camosun, maybe it's SFU, maybe it's UBC, everyone's going to apply. Every student's going to apply for Education Planner BC.ca. So you have to create a profile and then you choose your post-secondary that you're interested in applying to. So if it is Okanagan College, you're going to choose that. And then I'll ask you to prompt you through the process. And then I'll ask you what program you want to apply to and so forth and what term you want to apply to. And then you have to pay a $30 application fee, for Okanagan College to apply to us. And then you can track your application on what is called My Okanagan. So that is a student portal. So once you do get accepted into the program, you will be able to track your application to see if you're missing any documentation. So maybe it was a high school transcript you didn't submit or so forth. I will say, not just these programs, but all of our programs as of 2027 are not competitive admission entrances. So that means that you're not going to be, you don't have to have a 90% GPA to enter the program. If you meet the admission requirements and there's seats available within the program, you will be offered a seat. So we kind of say it's first apply, first qualify sort of thing. So if you're interested in this program, we usually don't cap it as well. I'd say maybe 40, but I'd say over the years, yeah, we haven't seen really a cap on that. But so that's kind of awesome, I personally think, because, if you have, English 12 you need, and it's like 60% or so for 67% that you need to get into the program. If you have that or just a little bit higher, then you'll be awarded a seat within the program. So that's kind of it for today. Really appreciate you guys coming out.